Lucasfilm announces the Star Wars films on Blu-ray for a third time, and new accolades for Episode 5. It's Thursday, January 6th, and you'll hear about those stories and more this week in Star Wars. This Week in Star Wars is your source for new and noteworthy developments from the galaxy far, far away. I'm your host, Matt Fox. And now, this week's lead story. Lucasfilm made news this week at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, Nevada, with the official final announcement that the Star Wars films would be coming to high-definition Blu-ray a scant 8 months from now in September of 2011. All 6 of the live-action films will be available on high def and will be sold as a complete 6-film set, as well as in original and prequel trilogy sets. Buyers of the complete saga 6-film set will also be given 3 additional discs containing over 30 hours of additional material, including deleted scenes and alternate takes. The suggested retail price for the complete set is $139, while each of the prequel sets would go for $69. However, actual pre-order prices on such sites as Amazon is already significantly lower than that. Rumors flew in advance of today's announcement that there would be 3D trailer material available on these discs or shown at the CES announcement itself. While the at-show preview obviously did not come to fruition, there is no information as to whether or not there will be any 3D material available on those discs. Fans, however, can rest assured that there will be more information as to the specific contents of the bonus discs, as well as an actual release date, when Lucasfilm inevitably announces the impending arrival of the films on Blu-ray for a 4th time later this year. The Blu-ray announcement trailer, featuring no new footage whatsoever, is available for viewing on StarWars.com. The pristine immortality of 1080p video is not the only way in which The Empire Strikes Back is being preserved for the ages. The Library of Congress has announced that the 5th episode of the Star Wars saga has been selected for inclusion on the National Film Registry. Each year, the library selects 25 films which are culturally significant to the United States for preservation to ensure against future loss. Also selected for inclusion this year is George Lucas's student film project, Electronic Labyrinth, THX 11384EB, the 1967 predecessor to the eventual THX 1138, which was Lucas's first commercial film. These 2 films will join other George Lucas projects, Raiders of the Lost Ark, American Graffiti, as well as the original Star Wars film, among the now 550 films that have been selected for the registry. Details are available at the Library of Congress website, www.loc.gov. This week's collecting news features a flurry of post-holiday sales. Target has been furiously marking down their holiday exclusives, including the vintage 9-pack figure set, which has been seen for as much as 50% off, or $25. The 2 deluxe Hoth Battle Packs have been regularly spotted for under $30, and Star Wars Minis Clone War Booster Packs have been reduced to as little as $1.50. The world's largest retailer, Walmart, has joined the bullseye in marking down their exclusives as well. The Jabba the Hutt throne set has been regularly found for under $20. Less uniform is a similar reduction in price on the TIE bomber vehicle, also reduced to $19. Although the new announcements of Toy Fair 2011 are still over a month away, there are a number of new toys that have been announced or have been leaked on various sites. Ever-reliable Sandtroopers.com has secured images of 3 new vintage 3-packs at Target, which are set for release later this year. These include a Stormtrooper Darth Vader Death Star Trooper set, a Luke X-Wing, original trilogy Obi-Wan and Han Solo, as well as a Hoth Rebel 21B and Hoth Princess Leia set. While there is obviously no official word, early indications seem to show that these sets will be sold individually rather than in the 9-figure long box format that the first set appeared as. Also, like that first set, all of these figures do appear to be repacks. Sideshow Collectibles revealed that the next 2 life-size busts in their Star Wars collection will be the 501st Legion Clone Trooper, as well as a Bith Cantina Band member bust. No pricing or release date information was put out by Sideshow at this time, but what information is available on the Sideshow website, sideshowtoy.com. British collecting site JediNews.co.uk has secured an image of the upcoming Vintage Collection Yoda figure. The figure is packaged on a Revenge of the Sith card, and its card back gives us the first glimpse at the upcoming Luke Jedi indoor capture figure. In video game news this week, Star Wars LEGO 4, The Clone Wars, now has an official release date. That's February 15th. And it will be available on the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, Nintendo Wii, Nintendo DS, the Sony PSP, as well as PCs. USAToday.com provided a preview of the upcoming game and has informed us that there will be over 175 playable characters and vehicles in the game, including a number of secret characters from the original films, Season 3 of the Clone Wars, as well as The Force Unleashed. Additionally, while the story is based heavily on Seasons 1 and 2 of the Clone Wars, there will also be playable levels from other sources, including the Battle of Geonosis from the climax of Attack of the Clones. Star Wars gamers impatient to wait another month for that game can hold themselves over with new downloadable content for The Force Unleashed 2. Gamers on both the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 platforms are now able to download an indoor mission from the events of Return of the Jedi, which will allow the player to take on and combat Han Solo, Chewbacca, and kill as many Ewoks as they feel necessary.
It's like a freaking country bear jamboree around here.
Star Wars fans unable or unwilling to get an iPhone now have a cheaper alternative in the smartphone market. VerizonWireless.com has reduced the price of the R2-D2 Special Edition Android phone by $50, and it now rings in at only $199 with the obligatory 2-year contract. For those of you who only want the phone but don't want the contract, it is available for an unsubsidized price of $600, or for next to nothing in a couple years on eBay. Details are available on the carrier's website. Recently available Star Wars publications include the novel Red Harvest, another Star Wars horror novel by Joel Schreiber, the author of Death Troopers. The Quinlan Voss Omnibus by Dark Horse is also now available. And next week sees the release of the Long Time Ago number 3 Omnibus, as well as Knight Errant number 4. Finally this week, many of the fans out there are no doubt familiar with Red Letter Media, the home of Mr. Plinkett, who first came to internet fame last year with his very long and detailed review of Star Wars Episode 1. This was then followed by Episode 2, and the circle is now complete, as Red Letter Media has posted Mr. Plinkett's review of Revenge of the Sith. If you've seen any of his previous reviews, you know what to expect. If you haven't, you need to know 3 things. First, it's very long, nearly as long as the actual film. 2, he doesn't like the prequels, but unlike most critics, he backs up his opinions with well-considered logical arguments. And 3, liberally mixed in with the reviews, are adult themes, disturbing topics, disturbing imagery, and language you wouldn't hear down at the docks. So be prepared and warned. Since the last episode of This Week in Star Wars, I've seen 3 Star Wars parodies on TV. The first was Robot Chicken Episode 3, which was just what you might expect. generally pretty good, moments of it very hilarious, some of it not that great, but certainly a worthy successor to the first two Robot Chicken episodes. The second was the Family Guy It's a Trap Return of the Jedi parody, which, to be completely honest, I have no recollection of it. They open the episode by telling the viewer that they're just there to get it done, and that spirit certainly carries through the entire episode. Family Guy fanatics will probably think it's the funniest thing on earth, but casual fans like me will probably find it slightly disappointing, much like the Something 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 Dark Side episode. The third, and by far the best, was the Star Wars Holiday Special. Yes, the 1978 Star Wars Holiday Special. This time, however, accompanied by the soundtrack provided by Riff Tracks, the guys behind Mystery Science Theater 3000. It's great. Find it. Before we wrap up this week, if you're in the Mid-Atlantic region, this Saturday, the DC Star Wars Collecting Club will hold its January meeting at the Odenton Public Library in Odenton, Maryland. Details are available at dcswcc.org. Come on out and join us. And that was This Week in Star Wars. Join us again next week for more news, notes, and developments from the galaxy far, far away. Visit www.thisweekinstarwars.com or www.twisw.com for links to old episodes, news about the show, as well as links to some of the stories we discussed in today's program. You can follow us on our breaking news Twitter feed, TWISWcast, and we welcome comments on our Facebook page. We also welcome news suggestions, questions, and comments via email at host@thisweekinstarwars.com. Help us grow the community. If you enjoyed This Week in Star Wars, please go to iTunes and leave a positive review of the podcast. You've been listening to This Week in Star Wars. We troll the web so you don't have to.
This Week in Star Wars is not affiliated with Lucasfilm, its subsidiaries, or any other entity mentioned in this podcast. Star Wars, its characters, and creations are the property of Lucasfilm. All other trademarks are property of their respective trademark owners. This Week in Star Wars is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. This podcast is copyright 2010 This Week in Star Wars. Invaluable technical assistance provided by WebStorm Interactive. News, comments, and questions can be directed to host@thisweekinstarwars.com. More information, links to stories presented, past episodes, and additional contact information are available at www.thisweekinstarwars.com.
This show is terrible, and I'm really happy.